thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate you taking the time out to interview with us.
Yes.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what your role here at RWSCC is.
Ted Arbeiter, Director of Operations, Suburban Community Channels, done.
All right, sounds good. So how long have you been with the organization?
I've been here 15 years,
Okay,
believe it or not.
sounds good. And how has your roles varied being here and within this organization? Have you been in the same position the whole entire time?
Nope. When I was originally hired, it was community television supervisor.
Okay.
SCC supervisor, something like that. But basically, there was, at one point, there was just 4 supervisors that overseen the 4 different departments. And then sometime 2008, 2007, there's a reorganization. Everything fell into 2 divisions, and then was oversee the operations. There's actually a bigger title, but it's just operations. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Sounds
which
good.
SCC department tucks into.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what is SCC?
Suburban Community Channels. It's an acronym. It's an acronym. Suburban Community Channels, and basically it's public access,
Okay.
community television, community media. It's essentially, the community has the ability to access equipment and access the airwaves, the channels, to create content, to share unique community messages about themselves, the community, that really you can only find on community television, public access channels.
So SCC is celebrating 30 years, is that correct? So
Yes.
how has it changed? How have you seen community media changed within the past 30 years, or within SCC, or how
Yeah.
has SCC changed?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, a lot's changed, but also a lot stayed the same. Really the biggest thing that's changed is, I think, the awareness of what community television, community media is. And probably the biggest thing is what the tools that are available to community members. We still distribute primarily through cable television, but also there's certainly other distribution avenues. That's been through the advent of the integration of computers in television, and also then the internet and the availability to the internet to distribute your content. But really it all gets back to people in the community who have important messages to the community about themselves, what's going on in the community, other issues that are important to the community that you really can't find on commercial television.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Well, yeah, no,
Do we
I
do
mean,
that? Yeah.
like I stated a little bit earlier, this is Suburban Community Channel's 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Why is that such an important milestone to mark or to celebrate?
Well, anytime that you've been around for 30 years means that you're obviously doing something right. You're obviously something of value to the community, something of value to the people in the community. And I like to view us as, we like to be around as long as the libraries are around. Before there was libraries, the libraries were in rich people's homes, and people didn't have access to that. And in many respects, information is the currency of democracy. And one thing that people can get access to is information on our channel, and that really is what democracy is all about. And I think one of our biggest roles for 30 years is really to enable participatory democracy. And if we can do that, and I think we do that, we can always do better. And that's one of the things that, hopefully maybe when we're celebrating our 60th year, which I may not be around for, but I think that then hopefully we've had more involvement with getting people involved with their community, and that I really believe that information is the currency of democracy. And just like a library, we've been around, and I think that we will be around and to serve the community and provide that connectivity for the community, for each other, and for all the different sectors of our community.
Perfect. So, knowing that this is our refranchising year for Suburban Community Channels, what are some things that community members can do to show their support, supporting Suburban Community Channels or community media?
Yeah. Well, what people can always do is just get involved in whatever way that you feel comfortable in getting involved. Some people, you can either write a letter, or the neat thing is that you can just send an email. Send an email to whoever your representative that you feel comfortable with communicating. You know, it could either be at a local level, your neighborhood leader, contact them and say how important community media is to you, how important SCC is to you. Or if you feel more comfortable going up in the food chain, the political food chain, then maybe your city council person or your mayor or your House of Representative from Minnesota or your senator from Minnesota or Al Franken or Amy Klobuchar or Barack Obama. Whoever you feel comfortable with communicating what's important to you in your life and your family, let them know how important community media is for you to either get your message out to your community or it helps you stay connected with your community, learn about your community, build community, and that's our big role, empowering people with the tools, knowledge, and access to media.
Perfect. So what are some things or projects that SCC is currently working on, or what are some things producers or people involved can look forward to in the next year?
Well, we have a refranchising going on. That's the agreement between the cable company and the community. The cable company says, we want to be your cable provider. The community says, great, this is what's important to us and what you need to provide to the community in order to have this franchise. It doesn't exactly work out as simple as that, but that's probably the biggest thing that's going on. But ultimately, what's going on too on an ongoing basis is we're always trying to expand our services to the community and how people can get involved and use this great tool, this great thing called community media, to better your life. We teach a series of classes to learn how to use equipment, to learn how to use Macintosh computers, all the tools that may help you create content and message to share with the community on community television, on the cable system, but also then to take that message and go off into wherever else you want to distribute it. We're always trying to expand our footprint in the community. And one thing we've been doing, as you know, is trying to expand our offerings and our connections to the youth of our community. We've actually, we've actually created, youth media endeavors to make sure the youth feel important and not disenfranchised with what's going on. So they understand that media is something that's about them, that they could create and be a part of. It's not happening something else somewhere else and happening to them, which is very important too. People think that media is just happening to them. They could actually be a part of that media dynamic. And so that's something that we feel is very important, and we're really trying to put the resources towards that so youth feel involved and connected to what the community is about and how to use media to connect with themselves, with other youth, and also with the community at large.
Perfect. So you were talking a little bit about getting involved. So how do producers or community members get involved with SCC?
Well, there's many ways. I mean, some people, you can be a producer. People talk about, what is a producer? Well, it's really a volunteer. I think most people could say, I know what a volunteer is. Volunteer is that I'm going to give my time, talents, and energy to something that I feel is important to me. Well, that's really what a producer is. You can actually get involved by taking classes. If you want to be a producer, obviously you need to learn how to do something. Well, we have classes that are only $10. They're very low cost because we don't want to have a financial barrier to involvement. People can get involved and produce programs. They take classes, be a producer, and that's really just volunteering, which they already know how to do.
Perfect. Is there any other last words, advice, suggestions to community members about SCC? Anything?
Yeah. Well, if your community is important to you and what you do in your life is important to you, you can celebrate that through community media. How? Well, there's many. Community media means different things to different people, and whatever you want to do, get involved and say. It's a great platform for whatever's on your mind, whatever's important to you. You can do it through television, which is the world's most powerful communication medium. And people think that people are watching less television. There's more television watching than ever. People are just watching it in different ways.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out again,
you.
and I appreciate, talking to you about SCC.
Not as much as I appreciate talking to you.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.